Askreddit, what screams, I'm very insecure? I used to be very insecure, so I'll go from my own experience. Lying about something to seem cool. It's very obviously a signal of insecurity because they don't like who they are now. I used to be this way. I got it from my mother. It evolved into pathological lying, where I would get so invested in a lie that I would eventually end up believing it and it would become my reality. In hindsight, that shit is horrifying. It's a serious mental disorder. A decade of therapy later, I snapped out of it and realized that I was acting like a fracking wet wipe on a regular basis and cut that shit out. Being unnecessarily mean-spirited to people. Had a guy threatening to kick the shit out of me if I told anyone he was dyslexic. One-upping people constantly in conversations. Or bragging about how much better you can do something than others can. Which is a much better comment than yours was. When you're reading an askreddit thread to make sure you're not making it too obvious. Just calling me out, huh? Bragging about things not even in your control, like your parents' wealth. Man, I brag about my depression all the time. The more you talk about how good you are in bed and how many women you've fracked, the less I believe you. I am terrible in bed and have fracked a grand total of 0 women. Just not shutting up about yourself. Constantly lifting yourself up and comparing yourself to others, while pushing them down. Also, constantly putting yourself down and comparing yourself to others. All those people who post on Facebook those quotes that are like, don't worry about those who talk behind your back, they're behind you for a reason. Or they tag themselves into any and every place including the docks, hospital, somewhere personal. Then when someone asks if they're okay they reply with, don't ask hun zoksiks, so basically. People who live their lives through very active social medias, I suppose I'm trying to say. ETA as of Monday 12:25 U.S. Eastern Time, to add some details, clarification. I get using it to inform people or to socialize if one's sick. Or to look for emotional support. That's probably a lot easier than calling a bunch of people. It gets weird when they then want privacy after posting it on social media. Or when they're asking friends for medical advice on urgent, emergency situations when they have good health insurance. Original post. I've always thought the hospital thing especially weird. Also weird, I have symptom of something which may require an or urgent care visit. What should I do? Maybe go to the or urgent care. These are people with health insurance, mind you. I can see posting to see if anyone else has had X symptom or condition. Or what questions to ask your doctor. As an insecure person, I find it hard to look people in the eyes. I also find it hard to tell any stories about myself, because I'm afraid people will think I'm lying, or that I won't be part of the group because of personal differences. I always think everyone is better than me. I can see all the good in everybody, but I know that they see all the bad in me. Insecure people stand in the corner and don't join the group. I feel you, friend. There's something about eye contact and conversing where if I'm saying something I'll worry, shoot, do they think I'm lying? Wait, what if I am lying? And then obsess over the criteria that meets the situation. Example, I love cookies. But wait, do I like cookies more than other people? I don't eat them that often, so can I really say I love them? A silly little example, but my ability to rationalize needs a little help. People who always have to one-up you in everything. If you tell a story they have a better one, if you buy something expensive they have to be something even more expensive. Some people's whole life is trying to win some non-existent competition. Oh, you went to Tenerife? Well, I went to Elevenerife. People who feel the need to judge everyone in a negative light and who only want to see the worst in others so they can feel better about themselves. It just shows how unhappy they truly are. Ironically, people like this also feel like they are judged unfairly and constantly by the world. I've found that a lot of people on Twitter that feel the need to post about how great of a person they are and they have nothing but good intentions are usually the most toxic people I've seen. It's like they're trying to convince themselves. I also notice that the things they write about themselves are the kind of things you should let other people say about you. It's just tacky. Banning Winnie the Pooh because someone said you looked like him. My first thought. Incapable of self-reflection. Because they're vampires? BF, alright I am going to work babe, GF, you better not be fracking with bitches at work. That's like screaming, I'm the one cheating. I deal with insecure moms a lot, either at the playground or mommy groups. They're insecure about what milestones their child is hitting and how they are doing as a mother. One of the biggest tells is when they brag about something that's clearly a lie, or even a partial truth. My 3-year-old is reading at a first grade level. Okay, but he's eating grass right now and just pooped himself. You see it a lot on social media now. My 20-month-old is potty trained. Having several accidents a day and needing a diaper whenever she sleeps is not potty trained. Yeah, moms are pretty judgy and many mommy groups are toxic, but most of can tell when you're lying and it screams insecure. I have a niece and nephew that are a month apart and Jesus Christ the competition is real. Like how can you be mad that your nephew has more teeth than your kid? Who fracking cares? Trying to dominate conversations, not to be confused with just being a charismatic person. I know a guy who will talk forever, on and on about something that may or may not be interesting to anyone but him in the first place. If anyone has something else to say that leads to a small tangent or participation of other people in the room, he becomes visibly annoyed and will bring it back with an anyway at the earliest opportunity and continue ranting. I don't like him. Edit, a lot of people are saying that they feel like they are this person. Just to clarify, it's not just the fact that he talks a lot and tends to be ranty that annoys me. Some people just have very active brains, and sort of runaway thought patterns if you will, and I get that. It's the fact that he seems offended that anyone would dare steal his conversation spotlight and want to participate that screams insecurity. This is a self-roast but I think I degrade myself just to hear others deny it. Is that insecure? I do this and I definitely think it comes from a desire to get ahead of it, like, if I put myself down first then how badly can it hurt if someone agrees? It's created a cycle of almost compulsive negative self-talk that I'm trying to deprogram. Scene, gets a notification on phone, XGF, who's chatting to you now? Me, it's a game notification me, goes to shower me, comes back to find GF going through every message, email and WhatsApp. Does that scream I'm insecure? Edit 1, thanks for the responses. I got out of that relationship last year and I'm dating someone of a far better mind and someone who trusts me. Edit 2, I coded my phone, she figured it out, then I used my fingerprint. Edit 3, my ex was very insecure and would often follow and check my every move. Edit 4, I will respond as best I can. Does that scream I'm insecure? Among other things. When you question yourself, do they actually like me or are they pretending to, or when you think you're gonna bother other people if you talk to them. Edit, Jesus Christ. I wasn't expecting so many replies. I hope you all are doing great. Women that guard their men like a solitaire. I was leaving an abusive relationship. My friend offered me a place to stay. The hitch was if she wasn't there and just her husband was, I had to leave. I got a hotel room. Not dealing with that. That is just you. People whose self-esteem is so low that they can't stand the sight of people with high self-esteem, so they will try to break down anyone they perceive as more successful than them. When a group of this type of people comes together, a major crab bucket mentality arises and they will target people perceived as highly competent or successful for bullying, gossip, false rumors, and other things that should have been wiped out after elementary school. Oof, you just described one of my coworkers. So glad she transferred to another department. I only get along with guys. Other girls hate me. Face with tears of joy. Zany face. All girls are drama. Ya know, I'm not mathematician here, but even I can see a common denominator. Clicking on this post, to see if any of the top comments are things you do. It's nice to come from I am not a total piece of shit. If I am, how can I improve as a person? Automatically assuming negative intent. E.g., you friend didn't pick your call? Fuck her, she's trying to avoid me. I don't care about her anyway. Had a friend who, while I took a nap, texted me, I noticed you didn't share your chocolate bar with me at lunch. Are you mad at me? Are we even friend anymore? 2 hours later, I guess I have my answer. Oftentimes, people don't know the difference between telling it like it is, and just being flat out mean. People who tell it like it is only give their opinion when it is warranted because they would want someone to tell them the truth instead of dancing around it. However, some can cross this line and just be straight up rude. While using this same reasoning, those who tell it like it is, are secure. Those who are unnecessarily mean are insecure. Not exactly a direct answer to your question, but I've always thought this and wanted to share. Edit. Thank you for silver smiley face. Interestingly enough, many people who tell it like it is don't like it when others do the same to them. Closing parenthesis dot. When people have and insist on constantly checking on their so via some tracking app on their phone. It's one thing to have it and use it in case of emergency, but using it while out with your friends to make sure he's actually at work is creepy and super insecure. I trail run, my boyfriend mountain bikes. We often go solo, especially when we're training for an event. Thanks for mentioning the emergency bit. When I mention we share locations, people get weirded out and call us stalkers. But the one time I have an emergency, I don't want it to be the time I forgot to turn it on. It was super handy this weekend when we were at the Baltimore Running Festival, made it super easy to find each other after our events since the cell network was overloaded and calls were going right to voicemail. Posting what you're up to every day on social media. Or the vague, I'm so upset right now, status where they're praying that someone asks what's wrong. If you want to say what's bothering you, do it. Don't clickbait your own status. Joint Facebook profiles. Don't you bring my grandpa and grandma into this. Constantly wedging, humble bragging, into conversations. My friend Jerry Seinfeld and I were just talking about this the other day. I came here to find out what I need to stop doing. Edit. Holy shit, my first silver. And my first gold. Same, but when I start talking to people my mind just goes blank. I try so hard to think about the right things to do during conversations, but it's so fuzzy and distracting that I start stumbling my words. People who automatically assume that if you disagree with them, you must have a subjective personal reason to do so, if possible even related to your own insecurities. Simply not true. Oh my god, yes. I was in a band with someone like that, and any and all disagreements I had over something he did or suggestions I had that didn't align with what he thought was immediately taken as a personal attack. So fracking glad I got out of that situation. Using your internal fear as a reason not to do something. Hate your job? You don't apply for any others because you're scared of being rejected, or that you don't deserve a better job. In a terrible relationship? You stay because you're scared of being alone. That kind of insecurity is the worst emo because it affects nearly everyone. No, this thread was for griping about the people I dislike, not uniting us through our shared universal fallibility. Lovey-dovey relationship posts and the king-queen posts on FB. If you have to advertise that your relationship is that great, it's probably not that great, replaced probably with probably E2, the people demanded probably be put back smiley face. E2A, I also could have worded this better, and didn't expect the type of traction this comment received. I normally try not to lump everything together, as not everyone does it, and saying things like most, and all doesn't really work when there are over 7 billion people on this planet. I have a small sample size of FB friends, like 0.00000000001% of the population. Even myself has posted sappy stuff to FB, but it's a rare occurrence for me. The above comment was geared towards people who post all the time about being in a perfect relationship. I'm sorry if I offended people with my opinion. E3, pet tax. On a similar note, my mom was at a work meeting once, and it was around their break for lunch, so some of the ladies were talking. One lady made a minor complaint about her husband and just laughed it off as, oh well, every marriage has problems. Another lady who was present but not being spoken to piped up with, excuse me, but my marriage is perfect. Zero problems, then went on a 2-minute rant about her dumb perfect marriage. Truck nuts. I want to get a big truck and put those eyelashes on the front headlights and then the nuts on the back. Really make people question their trucksuality. A huge lifted truck without any discernible work purpose being extremely aggressive in traffic. Anytime I'm stuck behind a car in the left lane and a car behind me starts flashing their brights, it's always a huge diesel pickup. I mean, I agree with them, the slow guy shouldn't be camping in the left lane, but what's flashing your brights at me going to do? I'm not able to go anywhere. I mostly see this at work. People who are in upper management and treat people like garbage just because they can. Being unnecessarily mean, rude or bitter to people. Treating new employees like garbage just because you're threatened they might take your job someday. I learned that the best way to get to know someone was to give them power and see what they do with it. Used this technique before promoting people. I would give them a project and put them in charge to see how they worked with the people under them. If they were assholes, I could address it. If they did well, I could promote them. Can't handle being told they're wrong or ignorant about something. There. Windows XP. I don't know. Most common viruses probably aren't compatible anymore. I bought a mattress the other day and the salesman had a chin strap and blue flames tattooed up his arms. When I finished checking out, he came up behind my mom and I and said, very seriously, just so you know, people call me Firearms. Later that same day, my dad and I were in the parking lot at Lowe's and a guy with spiked hair pulled into the parking lot in a convertible blasting Crazy Bitch by Buckcherry. I like to think he and Firearms were separated at birth. Edit. I am from the Jersey Shore. While I think that should clarify some things, this is douchey behavior even for here. Oh, why do they call you that? Be as sincere as possible and make him spell out every element of it until eventually you go, oh, I get it. Because a firearm is a word for a kind of gun, but what you've done is got a picture of fire on your arms, so it's like a kind of pun. I don't really like puns. Subscribe. Or don't. I don't care.